All right, welcome back everyone. So it's time to start our run of 10 battles with Gholdengo EX. So this is the last of the top 8 from Worlds that I need to do. And again, doing it based on total points accumulated, not based on final placement, because, and that's important, because Gholdengo was the deck that was most used on both day 1 and day 2 of Swiss format, but the top deck only made it to 7th, and that's at Worlds. And then by the time regionals came around, this deck kind of fell off the map, so not a lot of people used it, therefore it didn't accumulate as many points. And so actually, since the time I started recording these, Dragapult has overtaken Gholdengo as the deck that's accumulated the most points in competitive tournaments. So like before, I do have one that's just chilling in my inventory. This is a pre-made deck that was in here, and so we'll start with this, but I am going to update it to match the deck that placed 7th. Okay, so we've made our changes. Of course, I gotta throw in as many of my shiny cards as I can, and let's take a look at the deck. Alright, so it is called Gholdengo EX. That is the archetype built around this golden boy, golden string cheese man, as my wife likes to call him. So ability coin bonus, once during your turn you may draw a card. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may draw one more card, and its attack is Make It Rain. Only need one metal energy attached, and you can discard any number of basic energy cards from your hand. This attack does 50 damage for each card you discarded in this way. So theoretically, if you have all the cards needed in your hand, you can take out theoretically anything. The trouble is using this multiple times, so we'll talk more about that when we get to the trainers. So you start off, of course, with your Gimme Ghouls, and we do have one of the baby Gimme Ghouls that the standard deck, the pre-made deck, comes with, the Call for Family. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. But the list, and most of them actually, will run these guys, the minor errand running. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards to reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this is better for a number of reasons. Very importantly, it's got 70 HP, which means that the Dragapult EX dropping 6 damage counters on it can't knock these guys out in one go by themselves. But also you get to take 2 basic energy cards and put them into your hand, which you need for the Make It Rain attack. The other Gholdengo that this deck runs is the non-EX version, Strike It Rich. If this Pokemon evolved from Gimme Ghoul during this turn, this attack does 90 more damage. So you can use this if they have something like a Mimikyu that's immune to damage from EX Pokemon, or if you need to buy yourself a turn and you don't want to give up 2 prize cards, that's what this guy is for. And then the Surf Back attack, you may shuffle this Pokemon and all attached cards into your deck. Very rarely ever see that, but as this is kind of like your only single prize option, you can use that in a pinch. The new thing that this deck gained that makes it feel borderline broken is the Genesect EX Metallic Signal. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 evolution metal Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So this guy does not attack, he is literally in the deck for this ability, so that lets you search out your Gholdengos regardless of being under item lock. And then being stage 1, like, you can be up and running very, very quickly. And then the other thing this deck includes is a 1/1 of Togekiss. When your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin. If heads, take 1 more prize card. The effective Wonder Kiss doesn't stack. So this just lets you try to win the prize race, because the nice thing about Gholdengo is that he can hit ridiculous amounts of HP, The downside is now those are all in your discard pile and you do have to get them back. And if you're facing single prize Pokemon, like for instance Typhlosion, you're spending at least 4 energy cards to knock that out to get 1 prize. And so Togekiss tries to accelerate your prizes. You could potentially get 2 for a single prizer, or even 3 if you knock out something that normally gives 2 prizes. So there's that. Let's look at the trainers. So the big one is, of course, the Energy Search Pro. Search your deck for any number of basic energy cards of different types, reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So that's precisely why the energy spread looks like this. So you've got your 3 metal, the 2 electric, and then the rest of them is just 1 each of all of the different types, because you only need the metals to attach. The electric work with Levincia, which we'll look at, and then the rest of them is all just to search out and discard, which you can get any with the super energy retrieval as well. So Levincia, once during each player's turn, that player may put up to 2 basic electric energy cards from their discard pile into their hand. So that lets you bring those 2 back for free, and then you can use your energy retrieval to get others. I said energy retrieval, it's the superior one. So you have to discard 2 other cards from your hand, but then you can put up to 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile back into your hand. So you use your Levincia, get your 2 electric energies, 4 of whatever other type, and then you're hitting for 300 plus again. And here we have the Air Balloon, which is another addition from the Black Bolt and White Flare. So it is an older card that they reprinted in the new set, so now it's legal in the current standard format. Super important because it basically gives any of your Pokemon with 2 retreat or less a free retreat, which is especially good on a couple of Pokemon. Not only your Genesect EX, which costs 2 to retreat and you don't want it in the active, but even more importantly is that you can put it on your Gholdengos, because your coin bonus when you're in the active spot, you get to draw 2 cards instead of 1. So you coin bonus with 1 in your active, you retreat to another one, put it in your active, and so now you've got 4 cards instead of 3. And so super helpful for that reason. Your other trainers, the Cypher Maniac's code breaking. So before you coin bonus, you want to search your deck for 2 cards, shuffle your deck, then put those 2 cards on top in any order. So guarantees that you'll get the cards that you need when you need them. And your other trainers are pretty standard. Another addition that was new in Black Bolt White Flare is the Tool Scrapper. Choose up to 2 Pokemon tools attached to Pokemon, yours or your opponent's, and then discard them. And then I've already mentioned the energy spread. So here is that deck. Again, it only made it to 7th in Worlds and was almost non-existent, relatively, compared to the other decks in the meta for the regionals in both Frankfurt and Monterey. So we'll just have to try it out ourselves and see how we do before Mega Evolution releases.